Hello dear students, today we start ecology second again, and this is my 7th lecture, and here we will study biotic factors of an ecosystem, that is producer, consumers, decomposers, and the role played by these player or character of ecosystem in detail. Consumers are the organisms that feed on other plants or animals to obtain their energy. They are heterotrophs, that is other feeders. Herbivores directly feed on plants, that is vegetable feeder or plant feeders, herbivores. They are known as primary consumers. So we see that not all animals feed on plants. Some feed on other animals like herbivores are carnivores, which are second level or secondary consumers. Carnivores or secondary consumers. Thus consumers get their energy indirectly from the sun. Scavengers feed on large chunks of dead and decaying organic matters. Some are saprophytes and some are chemosynthetic in nature. Decomposers, that is fungi and bacteria, act on dead organisms and feces. They secrete enzyme into the dead organic matters, digest the constituents of the organic matter or dead bodies to absorb part of the soluble nutrients and enable the materials locked up in them to be returned to the environment for recycling and be used again by the green plants, that is autotrophs or self-feeder. Conversion efficiency of food into new biomass depends on the nature of food. Carnivores are more efficient at assimilation, 30%, than the herbivores, less than 1%, because most of a herbivore's biomass is digestible for the carnivores. Let us look at the figure 5.4 on page number 211 of the book Hurley and Miller. So look at your book and see this conversion efficiency. Energy flow through the ecosystem. This energy flow in an ecosystem depends on nature of the primary production and exothermic and endothermic nature of the primary and secondary consumers. Exothermic means the animals which are pakilo and homothermics. Warm-blooded animals are homothermics and exothermics are pakilothermics. Thermic animals adjust their body temperature with environments. They are cold-blooded animals. Ecological pyramid of food, biomass and energy. Energy flow in an ecosystem is unidirectional. All living organisms must have a continuous supply of energy. The basic source of energy is the sunlight or sun. Photosynthesis is the process that traps this energy. Pyramid of energy is the relative amount of available energy at each feeding levels, also called as trophic levels in an ecosystem. Energy always flow in one direction, non-cyclical in a food chain. When an animal feeds on plants, it extracts only a small portion of the energy in the plant. Much of this energy is used for respiration and maintenance. Only about 10% of energy is stored as new tissues and is available for transfer to the next feeding levels. Hence, the amount of available energy in a food web decreases with each successive level or trophic level. Again, we see ecological pyramids. The amount of energy or matter can be represented by an ecological pyramid. I have already told you. An ecological pyramid is a diagram that shows the relative amount of energy or matter contains within each trophic level in a food chain or food web. There are three types of ecological pyramids. Energy pyramid, number 1, number 2 biomass pyramid, and number 3 pyramids of numbers. So here we see a food chain pyramid on the upper diagram, and in which animals are just shown in a non-progressive way. When we reach the upper levels or upper slabs or stages of pyramids, number of just animals decreases, and below this diagram there is a upright pyramids in which we see that producers are at the bottom and primary consumers are the second stage, and third stage is secondary consumers, and apex or last stage of consumers are tertiary consumers. So this is these couple of diagrams are diagrams of food chain pyramids and food number pyramids. Total mass of living organisms that can be supported at each higher levels also decreases. This means that the shorter the food chain, the greater is available food energy. In terms of efficiency, more people can be supported on a diet of green plants than on a diet of meat. This pattern of energy flow through a food web can be represented by, I have told you, pyramids and pyramids of energy. The greatest amount of energy is in the producer, and a lesser amount of energy, that is amount of energy go on decreasing on the upper stages of the pyramid. The unidirectional flow of energy and inefficiency of energy utilization account for the need for a continuous source of energy to maintain an ecosystem pyramid of biomass. Similarly, the total mass of living materials, also known as biomass, is highest in the producer. The biomass decreases with successively higher feeding levels or trophic levels. I have already told you this, and we see the lower feeding levels as more organic matters available to the organisms feeding at the next trophic levels. The length of each pyramid's bar is proportional to the amount of energy or biomass at the trophic level. Here again we see pyramids of number compares the number of organisms at each trophic levels, and then pyramid of biomass compares the mass of biological materials at each trophic levels, and at last pyramid of energy compares the amount of energy passing through each trophic levels over a period of time. So diagrammatically or geometric diagram are shown here against the definition of each in this table or box of the different type of pyramids. So practices and try to just learn it by heart. Repeat. So I repeat again that food pyramid. From the pyramid of energy, we can see that the producer levels can provide food for more peoples than the carnivores levels. This results from the inefficient transfer of energy from one feeding levels to the next. I think this is the repetition again of some slide. Anyhow, this is the beauty of an ecosystem, that right from producers, then consumers, then different type of consumers, decomposers, and saprophytes. All these characters are playing roles of their own, and keeping an ecosystem sustainable, rather self-sustainable in nature.